Hello, for some reason I bought Boatswain American IPA. This is the super cheap Trader Joe's beer. Up until a couple years ago, this was $5 a six pack. Way back when I used to actually buy this more often, like close to like 14 years ago or something. This was $4 a six pack. Now it's $6 a six pack or $5.99. 6.7% alcohol, and it's contract brewed. This says brewed and canned by Rhinelander Brewing Company, Monroe, Wisconsin. I thought it was Minhas Brewing, which is in Monroe, Wisconsin. Rhinelander Brewing is in Rhinelander. I don't know, who cares? But what's funny is that on there it says appearance brown, IBU 79. Brown is not pale. IPA, India Pale Ale. I guess we'll see what it looks like in the glass. Yeah, and I haven't had this in years and years and years, but it's just kind of famous for being like the cheapest IPA in America, probably. Um, and it says it has a sweet maltiness from the roasted barley. Roasted barley in an IPA? Yeah, just very, very, very old fashioned. They don't tell you the hops or anything, because they do say the IBUs and they say there's roasted barley in it. So yes, this is contract brewed for Trader Joe's. Ooh, already getting some whiffs of it, and that is dark. But it's supposed to be that way. I'm smelling like it's more like English. They say American IPA, but I'm feeling like this is more like a strong English IPA, maybe with American hops. The fruit flies like the way it smells. The head looks actually pretty decent, but that any craft brewer would probably call this like a hoppy red ale or hoppy amber or something like that, which is kind of a very rare style. And it's not, there's like a little bit of a haze to it. It wasn't refrigerated when I bought it, but I bought it from a pretty small Trader Joe's that I'm surprised they even sell alcohol because they only have like a teeny section. So I feel like it moves really fast. Like they had some local craft beer there that was like 3 days old. It was kind of wild. I should have bought that. But this one, it says 26/2/19 on the bottom. If it's the Julian code dating, that the 219 means that it's the day of the year. So that would mean that this is like, I think a month old or something. Except that 26, that's next year. Usually the way this code goes is that the first two numbers are the last numbers of the year. So if this is canned in 2026, it's canned in the future. I don't really know. And then the next three numbers are usually the day of the year, but whatever. Head's died down a little bit, but it looks pretty good. And it smells like a hoppy red ale. It smells caramely. I think they just put IPA on there to get more people to buy it. Very big on the malt. Is there a hint of some kind of citrusy quality in there? I don't know. I just had a Night Shift Santilli, and these are both theoretically American IPAs, but wow, this is all malt. It doesn't smell old. I feel like it's fresh. But is there a buried in there kind of cooked citrus? I don't know. It's mostly just malty. It says 79 IBUs, so that means, they boiled some hops in there, but you don't need to use that much hops to get bitterness. You just boil them until you extract all the bitterness out of there. Definitely hoppier in the flavor. It's not as sweet as you'd think. And they give you the original gravity on here, 15.46. That's the Plato gravity system, which I'm not as familiar with. But 15.46, yeah, to get to 6.7% from that, and it has to be very, very fully fermented. So it smelled like sweet malts, but all the sugars in those sweet malts seem to be quite fermented out. Yeah, it's like berries. Smell. Oh man, I'm getting lots of fruit flies. I just have a fruit fly situation from the tomato harvest. This is not bad. It's clean, and the fruit flies think it smells good. It smells fruity. Um, and there, yeah, after a few sips, that bitterness is coming in. But it's almost like a overbrewed black tea with a little bit of citrus added and a lot of like toastiness, like sort of a roasted tea. Yeah, and it's gonna get quite bitter, I can tell. Yeah, this is more like I guess it's an IPA circa 20 years ago, basically. Um, Before brewers got really big into hop packing and super heavy dry hopping. I don't even know if they dry hop this, but any American IPA should be dry hopped. And the flavor just has some sort of bit of grapefruit, but it's all covered in like this sweet malt sort of thing. It's like toffee, maybe. It's not quite caramel. And they don't give a lot of descriptions on here, but it seems like it's fresh and it's extremely clean. It seems like I think they've been making this probably for 20 years and they've figured out how to do it. But it is extremely unfashionable way of making an IPA. Yeah, just if you want malt and bitterness, which is it's basically these are the IPAs that made me stop drinking IPAs. Like when I started working at a beer store like 13 years ago, I was just like I was a hophead and got tired of them because of this sort of thing. Especially if you have this and it's old and it's like oxidized hops flavor and bitter and malty and toasty and like it's just like what? When this is fresh now and I can appreciate it, super clean. A little bit boozy for 6.7, but not like I can't really smell it much. It was also extremely cold can, so hopefully that's not covering up any off flavors. But I find that with the mass-produced stuff, it tends to be cleaner than some local beer. Or small breweries that don't really know what they're doing, or sometimes a small brewery can have an off batch and they'll still sell it because they have to. But this is yeah, it's pretty bitter on the palate now. Definitely 79 IBUs. I guess if you're a craft beer drinker who is missing a hoppy amber or something like that, or a strong red ale that's bitter, and you can't find those. This is your under the radar one. It's super cheap. I'm not sure if I read the date right. I think I did. In which case you can use that to make sure that it's fresh. But that's it. This is a perfectly fine beer. It's just the balance and everything that's not akin to what IPAs are these days. Like kind of a fruitcake thing going on. Actually, now I think about it, fruitcake but bitter, with bitter citrus pith, but not much actual citrus flavor. A little bit hidden in there, marmalade-y. But it honestly deserves close to a 4 if it's a well-made beer.